Like, how can they use speaking to be able to grow their company?
One of the main things to remember is that, like, just because you get on a stage, it doesn't mean that you will get more stages. It doesn't mean that you're entitled to bigger audiences. I think we have to remember like what a stage is, and it's a platform to be able to share your idea and share your message with more people. Now, how you use that afterwards, whether you put that stage up on the video up on YouTube, or whether you're sharing it on LinkedIn or LinkedIn Live, like what we're doing now, there's a lot of different opportunities and ways to be able to do that. So really, the people who benefit the most from a stage are people who want to really draw in and hone in on their audience. Like, it's not just the fact that you want to get up on stage to go speak. The whole goal is like, are you able to get up on stage and like really influence the audience and the crowd that's in front of you, not just get up there and talk about fluff pieces. And I think in 2025, 2026, the biggest speakers and the most influential ones are those who just provide so much incredible value from stage that people look at them and say, oh my gosh, like I benefited so much from this talk or from this workshop or keynote. And
they said getting started was the hardest part, but no one told you how hard it is to scale a custom service business. It's time for your team to step up, but your clients want you. Discover how to scale to 7 figures and beyond by freeing up time and getting your team to run whole parts of the company so you can focus on scaling profits. This is the Hands-Off CEO with Mandi Ellefson.
Welcome to the show, Cam. We're here today. I'm Mandi Ellefson, Hands-Off CEO. I'm here with Cam Beaudoin. Did I say that right, Cam?
Beaudoin. Like if you say Baldwin, just Beaudoin. Yeah, you got it.
Beaudoin. Okay.
That's it.
So it's a French pronunciation.
You got it.
I'm guessing now you're probably in Canada, French Canadian.
You got it.
I'm connecting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cam is good friends with our CMO. And she's like, you guys definitely have to connect and have this conversation. So we're like, I was checking out Cam and all that he was doing. I'm like, wow, actually looks really interesting. We definitely need to talk. And so Cam, why don't you just tell us about what do you do? I know you work in the speaker space. So tell us what you do and who you work with.
Sure. In a nutshell, I help speakers get on stage. I work with people who see the stage as an opportunity to grow their influence, to build a bigger brand, to really like help them, spread their love across as many people as possible, build an influence. So I help speakers get on stage, mostly using video, doing lead gen as well for them as well. But really, it's like I think I help people get famous, like, in some ways. I don't like to say that lightly because that sure seems like we were talking pre-show a little bit about what that actually means. But helping people get on these stages where they can grow their business and their influence and market themselves is what I do.
Great. Well, one of the things we were also talking about too is who you work with. And I know you mentioned that there's some people that you work with that are speakers, but a lot of your best clients are actually business owners that are using stages to be able to help grow their company. So that's who I'd really like to talk about, because like these are people who are on our list, are following, they're in our listeners, and like how can they use speaking to be able to grow their company?
Sure. So one of the main things to remember is that, like, just because you get on a stage, it doesn't mean that you will get more stages. It doesn't mean that you're entitled to bigger audiences. I think we have to remember like what a stage is, and it's a platform to be able to share your idea and share your message with more people. Now, how you use that afterwards, whether you put that stage up on the video up on YouTube, or whether you're sharing it on LinkedIn or LinkedIn Live, like what we're doing now, there's a lot of different opportunities and ways to be able to do that. So really, the people who benefit the most from a stage are people who want to really draw in and hone in on their audience. Like, it's not just the fact that you want to get up on stage to go speak. The whole goal is like, are you able to get up on stage and like really influence the audience and the crowd that's in front of you, not just get up there and talk about fluff pieces. And I think in 2025, 2026, the biggest speakers and the most influential ones are those who just provide so much incredible value from stage that people look at them and say, oh my gosh, like I benefited so much from this talk or from this workshop or keynote. And we can kind of even talk about what types of stages are out there that I want to bring them in either to speak to my audience or continue doing business with them kind of later on. So there's a whole bunch of psychological techniques for that as well.
I love that. So you said, you got to build an influence and build a lot of value from stage. So let's talk You want to say something? Why don't you, John?
Well, I was just about to say that a lot of speakers treat a stage like a lottery ticket, like, oh, finally I won, like finally I was able to get here, and I think it's like the destination can't be the stage. The destination has to be like serving people and getting business on the back end, like, continuing this relationship that you're trying to form with a one-to-many relationship. Like that's the whole goal. Think of who's the biggest speaker that that you follow. Like, is there anyone that you look up to?
I looked up. One person I really like, I was just, and I'm probably going to go to this webinar later today, is Tom Beaudoin. He's really smart. He shares such interesting information. And I actually, to the point where there's emails that I'm like, yeah, and we just went and implemented it, right? We just go and implement, we see great results. And it's actually this one thing that we did around marketing experiments that he talks about is like drove some really big results in our company as far as knowing what to cut. It gave us a lot more confidence to go and invest in multiple channels, and we're just cutting fast, and we're making decisions faster than we have in the past, just from that one email that and his videos are great too, but that was just one example of really clear value that was like so easy to, it was simple to implement. I should say it wasn't easy, but it was simple.
Sure. Tom Beaudoin, Impact Theory, right? Impact Theory.
Exactly.
He started Quest. He started Quest Nutrition as well. He's interviewed people like Alex Ramosi in his podcast as well. Like he's like big. He definitely draws an audience. Now think of that. Like he already has a platform, and then whenever he gets up on stage, an event planner knows that if they bring Tom to their stage, he by himself, his influence will help draw in more people to that event, whatever it may be. So there's this little bit of play between both the speaker and the event organizer who, like, they both see mutual benefits in doing this. So we have to think about that as well when you're looking to get on stage. What's the mutual benefit here? Like, what am I bringing? Can I bring an audience to this live event? And can I use that influence to draw in more people? Does it work the other way around? Am I going to get a platform to bring in more people to my orbit as well? So there's a couple of things that go play on there.
Right. So then what would you say for people who don't quite have that big platform already? I mean, I don't have a platform that's Tom Beaudoin's level. I mean, we've got a platform, but not quite that level. So then how do you be able to work with that to still be able to get on stages without some of those pieces in place?
So I think the best thing to think about is what does a stage mean to you? So does it need to be the keynote in front of 6,000 people? Like, is that what you think of, just saying you in general? Like, is that really the goal here? Because if the goal is just to have a bunch of eyes looking at you, I would say there are probably better ways that you could start, or better and more effective ways that you can get in front of that audience than saying, well, I'm only going to speak at the Funnel Hacking Live main stage. That's all I want to speak at. Because there's tons of breakout rooms with some pretty big conferences out there that you will get 50 of your perfect ideal audiences right in front of you, and you'll be able to have a much more personal relationship with them. You can pick people out of the crowd, bring them up to the front. In fact, I just got back from a conference where somebody did that, and I think she closed half the room, and it wasn't a hard sell. She just brought people up, demonstrated her ability to actually, she had a really interesting offer. She was able to talk about your image and your confidence up on stage. It was a speaker's conference, and she was able to audit people right in front of the group of 50. And yeah, she booked 25 appointments, like right on the spot. So like, this is the power of being able to have a breakout room. Now, is it that 6,000 people is looking at you from, like, it's not, but if the goal is to create relationships and grow your influence, then you should take what you've got, then use that as a stepping stone or leverage to get the next big opportunity.
That's a really great point. And those intimate audiences, you're going to be drawing a better niche anyway. And, when you're drawing a niche, you also can provide a much more customized solution that is probably going to have a higher price point, or it can have a higher price point, have a higher value engagement, versus when you're doing really broad, where you're selling something that is sometimes like a lot lower ticket, and it's for the masses. So it's a really good point that you brought up.
Yeah, and just to tag onto that as well, like, you're either supply constrained or demand constrained, and like by nature, there's only one of you. I'd like to think. So speakers are by nature supply constrained in how they do business. So if you are going up there and trying to pitch yourself, like if you're trying to pitch an e-commerce thing, if you're trying to say, buy my widget, then it does benefit you to get in front of the biggest audience possible if you've got a $49 product. But instead, if you're doing coaching or consulting or anything, like trying to bring people in to work with you in other kind of capacities, then like it doesn't, You wouldn't be able to triple your lead gen tomorrow and then be able to serve all those clients in a meaningful way. Anyways, like it wouldn't be of benefit to you. So laser focused targeting audiences or opportunities that you can find people that have a need. And you can get in front of 50 people. That's your ideal client. Like, man, how great would it be for you to like get 25 brand new clients tomorrow? That'd be great. Like, I'm not sure if you can serve that, but that would be amazing.
Well, no, and the more niche. I remember I came in one time. I did a workshop for more of a niche brand. It was from a colleague that we had a mutual relationship with. And, after that day, I just made an offer that, hey, like anybody wants to have a conversation, I'm going to be here for the next couple of days. Let's have a 15-minute conversation. And I think every single person in the room took me up on that.
Right.
And I also did a dinner afterwards after the first day. And this was actually such a crazy day. It was like I missed my connecting flight, and I had to go. And I landed in Atlanta. I was able to. I rerouted it to Atlanta because I could at least drive from Atlanta to the connection in Savannah. And I get there, and I drove all the way through the night to be able to get there. And my assistant called to like make sure my room didn't give away, but they gave away my room. I was like doing the whole day, and they gave me a conference room with a height of it. I had to call for a hairdryer the next morning. So I got 2 hours of sleep, and I did a whole day. I was just running on pure adrenaline, right? But I had planned a dinner that night where I had actually asked the host to get me connected with, like who are like the top people in this group that I should talk to. And she was nice enough that she connected me with all of them.
Oh,
I
great.
reached out. I know, and I reached out to all of them, and I said, hey, I'm putting on a dinner at this place. I'd love to have you guys come and chat. And out of that dinner, I don't know. I can't remember how many, but I closed quite a bit of business from that, even before the actual event happened. But it's because I worked it. Like I worked those leads, and I worked the opportunity. If I just would have shown up, here's the thing: is like, I think the average person would have probably gone and said, "Oh, I missed the flight. I guess I can't do it." I'm like, no, like I blocked out my week. I did all this preparation. I'm getting there, and.
The show must go on, right? Like the show must go on. You must do it.
Must go on, and I was so wired I couldn't sleep for 2 days actually. but it was a big success, and even though it wasn't perfect, but it worked, and I added a lot of value, so which I think was the reason why every single person wanted to have a conversation with me. Not everybody was a fit, right? But it was like a great way to add value to the audience there as well.
Yeah,
and it helped.
I mean, you said my favorite thing, but there you end up working the leads as well, which is like we were talking about pre-show. It's something that a lot of speakers don't do. We can talk about that a little bit, but that's something I see over and over and over again. And it's a lot of speakers think of the stage again, like I said, as a destination instead of a vehicle, and so therefore, they don't know what to do with traffic that's maybe not like their perfect ideal. Many speakers' whole idea of getting on new stages is I'll go speak, and then there's 3 to 5 people who will come to me afterwards and shake my hand and say, I'd love for you to speak at my event too. And then that's how they kind of build their business. And I think that is, there's principles of business, following up with your leads, or like building a lead magnet, or like getting a QR code up there to give your slides away. There's also these little tricks that you can use to acquire emails, and just saying like, hey, did you get any value? Do you want to follow up afterwards or connect afterwards or have a dinner? I've done that. I've done something similar to that as well. I would always get a suite instead of just a regular room, and so you have a little living room there. So you say, hey, after the after my talk or whatever like that, like I'm having a party up in my suite. Why don't everyone come over? And then you can close a few people from the room like that as well. Just continue the conversation, because when someone's up on stage, the audience doesn't have an opportunity to have all of their questions answered. So the more time that you can spend with people, the better it is, and that's kind of like marketing 101.
Right. Yeah, it's just making yourself available.
Yeah,
and what a great idea. I love that. Doing a suite party. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And so this is such an interesting conversation and very timely. And this is one of the big initiatives we've pushed the latter half of this year, and working out what's the best way to go about doing this. And 2026 is really a big hardcore focus. And it's something that I didn't do for a long time. I should say I've done it a lot. I've done a lot of podcast speaking, but I haven't done as much traveling and speaking, partly because my daughters have been young, and I just didn't want to be speaking I didn't want to be traveling all over the place. And in some ways, I think that has does limited my reach. In other ways, I just found ways to compensate. I've just gotten better at follow-up. My team has gotten really good at follow-up and a lot of other things that I think a lot of people have gotten sloppy with, quite frankly. But I think it's made us to have a better business. But now as I'm getting on bigger stages and doing more of that, one of the biggest obstacles I've faced with myself is just deciding that it was a good use of my time, because I'm looking at this and I'm flying out there. I'm like, this is half of a week plus all the preparation time to go on stage for an hour. And and what if the audience is wrong? What if I get nothing out of it? Like the amount of time and energy that you put into this strategy. And it took me a little while to get over that, right? I mean, I've invested a lot in just getting better at podcasting and getting better at doing webinars that I'm hosting. But it's the getting on the stage part that, like, I had a hard time with the time investment part of that. And what would you say to that?
Well, one thing I like that I'm hearing is that you've kind of built up all this other stuff around it. So you said podcasting and webinars, and I didn't have a chance. I'm not sure if you post on YouTube or even like something like this, like all this content. This is all really good data. And the number one thing that speakers lack is data. They don't even know what their audience really wants because they go up on stage, I speak about burnout. And it's like, okay, who here has experienced burnout before? Yeah, okay, yeah, I've heard that one before, right? But the problem is, if you don't have any real understanding of what burnout, like, did you know, maybe you do, that burnout for like a CEO might be different for burnout for like a front end, like a front end employee who's dealing with front of staff. Like, they may have different levels of burnout, or one may be like experienced in different ways. So are you the burnout CEO, the CEO burnout person, or are you the call center agent burnout person? Like, those are two very different types of avatars that you would need to understand. What I mean by that is that you should probably create one single talk that you repeat over and over and over again. Productize it so you can only swap out 10 to 20% of whatever the talk is going to be to match the audience that's in front of you. Because again, a marketing conference that you may go speak at will be a lot different from an education conference that maybe you want to go speak at. A lot different from maybe a executive function conference that you go speak at. But building that 80% talk that you can give, rinse and repeat over and over and over again, like, that's what all the best speakers do. Like, look at Mel Robbins. We'll use Mel Robbins as an example. Yeah. Her 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 talk. Like, we all kind of probably know what it's about because everyone's read it. Everyone knows what it's about. It's not going to surprise you if you go watch her in Atlanta, then you go watch her in LA, and it's the same talk. It's because that's what professionals do. We rehearse, we practice, then we give the same talk over and over and over again. And then you're going to watch your talk and then pretend it's more like a sports play rather than I'm going to get up and just share a bunch of value, because you can then pull out things. I my energy level dipped here, or I saw the audience look towards their phone here, or this didn't land the way I needed it. It needed it to. Then you can swap all these moments out from whatever else that you've already learned about your audience, because you have so much content already created, and you probably have all that knowledge kind of like in the back of your hand anyway. So I would say, start to practice that signature talk. Prepare that, because that's what you're going to be known for, and that's what people will want to have you come back for again and again and again.
Yeah, no, I love that. And that's actually something we've done with our executive briefing. So we do a weekly executive briefing. Anyone listening, if you want to join, it's handsoffceo.com/briefing. And on this briefing, we go over how do you be able to actually double net profits in 12 months? Like, we actually go over like a lean scale methodology. And and me even just positioning it that way is different than how I positioned it even a few weeks ago, because I've recognized that, like, positioning it as, here's how to be able to generate, here's how to generate extra. How was the last one? It's like, here's how to sell $100,000 plus deals. That was attracting a certain kind of client that wasn't really our client.
Oh, interesting.
Versus here's, like, you're stuck in the day-to-day business. Mm-hmm. You want to be able to scale. You need to hire really good people, but you don't quite have the bandwidth to be able to hire those people. So you're kind of stuck in this place right here. Now we can actually talk about, well, you know what? We can generate more margin by doing these things. We can be able to hire this next person to remove you out of that. But it attracts a different kind of person. But I don't know that if I'm not tracking that on a week by week basis.
Sure.
And and Kirsten, your friend who's our CMO, she's done a good job of filling that along with the rest of our marketing team. They've been filling that week after week after week. And it's like, it's something that I started in 2020. And one of my mentors just do it every week, and I would fill them up just from LinkedIn, which was like baller. It was great at the time.
That's cool.
It was, and I learned so much from just doing it, whether there was one person who showed up or whether there was 20. And there were weeks that one person showed up, and I used to feel so uncomfortable about that. And now I'm like, I don't have weeks like that anymore, but like I would be so fun. And here's the thing: is this like the conversion rate's way higher anyway, but But I think part of it is like I've learned how to just be able to be cool with whatever comes your way.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what's important with speaking. But being able to have that one talk and doing it over and over again, like you look at people's face. How are they responding? And,
that's right.
And I also insist that everyone has their face. Like I want to see their face because I don't want to talk into the ether. You might as well watching a video. I'm like, I'm here actually coaching you and giving you feedback on this. I'm giving you good stuff here, and how you pay with it is you're actually showing attendance.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're attention. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, those are one of the things that I have found too with just the tracking progress on one talk, that you're continuing to innovate. It's never the same actually. Like I can't make it the same if I tried.
Something I've also learned in general that a lot of speakers miss out on is the opportunity to actually create content from their talks. Like there's nothing to say that you can't or shouldn't. I mean, some places, if you're going to go speak at a private company, then you have to ask. But generally speaking, if you're speaking at a conference or an event or something like that, go and get a decent camera. Like what I've got, I've got $1,200 Sony camera here. It's like with a lens. Let's not get into technical details, but you get a decent camera with 4K, and then you lapel mic yourself up. You can go speak in front of a room, and then when people ask you, "Show me what you can do," you can say, "Yeah, here's me speaking at this event." Because we have to remember that event planners are extremely risk averse. There's this whole idea that like, oh, I need stages to get stages, and while I agree with that in concept. That's like, I need clients to get clients. It's like, yeah, but you know what? Once you get one, like it snowballs into more stuff. So we have to be able to leverage it, because speaking is inherently an industry where it's difficult to show proof. Like I've got these great ideas, but that's not proof that I can work an audience or get people in, like standing up and interacting and clapping and like putting the phones down, because that's something that's really difficult to do. Especially if the MC is really boring, right? Like you got to come bring that energy to the stage and then get people to like put your phones down and stop doing this kind of stuff. Like that whole audience kind of like interaction is difficult to quantify unless you have proof. So my tip to everybody is like, get a decent camera. Put it in the back of the room and record yourself speaking, because that like multiplies itself like everywhere you go. Like Gary Vee puts all of his freaking videos, his stage talks on his channel, and it just kind of keeps building the swell, because it's what's that expression? It's an earned audience, right? You cannot just pay. You can pay your way into a stage, yet you can, but it's not exactly like they wouldn't allow just some random weirdo to go and buy their, like no one would do that, right? It's an earned audience, because you are vetted by somebody who says, okay, yeah, Mandi, I think you'd be a good fit for our audience. Whether you pay or not to get on that stage is a little bit like different, but it's like you get that footage, and then you can use it to, of course, cut up for shorts and reels, but then you can also use it to fuel more data, more talks down the line when someone asks you, well, what do you bring to the stage? Here's my YouTube video. Here you go. Like, what do you think of this? And that's like a really easy way to get on more stages as well.
Oh, that's really smart. And I know that it's kind of an obvious one. It's like I have nice camera equipment. I'm not actually using it right now because I don't be able to see your face, right? But I mean, I'm using the lighting. I probably could do a little better than the lighting today, actually. But I actually didn't think about that. I know that's obvious, but I was just thinking, well, you just need to hire a camera crew to come in and film you.
Or that, like, hey, I try to talk to all levels. If you don't want to do it yourself, $500 to $1,000. Like, look, you go on Upwork, you type in the city that you're going to go and speak in, and a videographer there, and you'll find someone 2-camera setup, $500 to $1,000, and you say like, no editing, just record it in whatever MP4 possible, and then get it to me like that. They love it, because look, no editing, no post work. they're happy. They're just want, here's the footage, bye-bye. And you'll get 2 cameras set up and you can use that in so many places. And in a demo reel, on your YouTube channel, like in a course. I know people who put like their training, like, a half-day training that you'd offer some organization. They go and be like, you don't own that footage, I do. And then they go put that up for training that they can sell for $400,000, $500,000. There's so many uses for it.
Got it. Yeah. So I didn't think about using Upwork for that. That's really smart.
Yeah, I
tip.
find a lot of stuff on Upwork.
Oh, freak, I'm not going to go and mess around with that. For $500, because you get 2 cameras, that makes so much more sense.
Yep.
But at the same time, though, just having that in a pinch is just really nice. And I know we set up our cameras when we do our own events, and so we have a little bit of footage. We're not actually wanting to record them because they're private events, but it's useful to have that. So great tips. So tell us more about. I know you have a service that do done for you for speakers. Tell me more about that.
Sure. The lead offer right now is Done For You YouTube, like really helping speakers get on YouTube and start to build their speaking business that way. I find that there's no better use of your time than to start filming stuff and just putting up somewhere that people can search for it and consume it long form. And the algorithm just works such to benefit of speakers online. When someone can sit with you for 20 minutes and say, "Oh my gosh, Mandi actually does solve problems." Like that's the biggest problem that speakers have. They're not out there solving problems. Yeah, if you've written a book, then you've got a book. But really, like I said before, event planners are extremely risk averse, especially when if they've got 1 or 2 keynote slots and they've got $25,000. And they're risking $10,000 to $15,000 to go and pay for you to come up on their stage. They need to see something. They need to see something up there that's not I'm awesome. They need more than your cat videos. That's what I'm trying to say. Right. So building up that authority that shows that you know what you're talking about is the Done For You service that I've been leading with now for some time, and it's probably the best precursor to getting on stage rather than maybe some of these live events or stuff like that. Right. That's it.
So then what you're saying is you're having footage go up on YouTube. Is it like a speaking reel, or is it like you're building a whole body of work?
Yeah, it's a whole body of work.
YouTube? Okay.
Yeah.
So then
yeah.
how is that? Go ahead. Sorry.
No. So I was just gonna say the biggest thing that I see is people are don't stay accountable to it. They want to get up. How often has it happened to you? Oh, today's content creation day. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm kind of hungry right now. Well, maybe I've got a client call to do. I'll do lead generation instead. I'll go follow up with a bunch of leads instead of sitting on camera doing the work. It's the accountability piece that sets us apart. I sit on camera with people.
And that's some of the hard part about it too, because I don't know about you, you fiddling around with the camera equipment, and you could just go into a studio, but then you have to go into a studio.
Yep.
Deal with all that, but if it's something that you're going to be doing on a regular basis, you need to get into a rhythm of it and set up a studio in your own office space. I think that's what I have found. I don't want to go to a studio every couple weeks. Me personally,
Yep.
Maybe I should, right? But having a real clear strategy that you're forcing yourself to sit down and actually do that content adds. There's a lot of reasons not to do it, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's so easy to fall into the maybe I'll do it next time or it's just one more day, I'll wait till the next day. But having an accountability partner is what I found that people come back to me and say, having somebody on the other side who knows about the speaking world, who can coach through the ums and uhs and the tech setup and it's the futzing around, like you kind of said, right? Do I need to use ISO 800 or 1600 for this shot? I'm just you need to press go, and then we'll talk about that, because if you don't, then we're going to be messing around with camera settings instead of doing the work. So press record, and then let's play with it. Okay, now you look good. Now let's go for it. And that's what people have come back to me and said, that's what makes the biggest difference, because you need the friend.
But even more than that, though, you have the strategy to understand what these event coordinators are looking for, who are booking you. So you're actually asking them the right questions. And I remember sitting with, one of our previous events, we had a professional photographer the whole time, a videographer. And I said, well, you know what, we're going to be getting some video footage done. If you want some video footage, we'll know that we've got the photographer here. And, one of my clients who was sitting there and and he was talking about it. I'm like, no, let me just come in here. I'm going to interview you. And we went back and forth on them. There was a few takes that were just like, no, again. And I just knew the right questions to ask him because I understood it about his business, and I was just really pulling it out of him. I'm not a professional like you are, but but took enough takes. I'm like, bam, we got it.
That's the one. Right? That's the one. Yeah. Right. And you can't do that alone. Like I really believe that collaboration and co-creation, it really. Have you ever heard of a movie being recorded where the actor's just like, okay, Tom Cruise, just go over there and do some stuff. Like we'll just take you just don't do that. That's not how professionals operate. And, I go back to, the Tony Robbins or the Brene Browns of the world. Like they don't operate solo. They just don't. And the whole idea around content creation, Alex Hormozi, I've watched and spoken to some of the people who help him create his YouTube channels. And it's like, these guys, he has somebody coaching him on the back. It's not just done alone, but that's what we think it is, because all we ever see is someone sitting down in a desk in a room and kind of doing their thing. And so I'm sure there's people out there. I know you're probably getting comments right now of people yelling and saying yes, but this one content creator does it this way. And yes, sure. But by and large, if you want to move to the next level, you kind of have, if you have a partner, you're going to get there a lot faster.
Well, I guess maybe another context to look at it is that this is your full-time job and all you're doing is videography. There's no problem. You can do it all yourself, and you can do the editing, you can do everything. But what if you actually have a company where you really make money and you have is really the best use of your time trying to figure that out? No, it's not, and that's why it never gets done. And that's why it really took me getting a full marketing team built around me. And for us to get a YouTube channel out that I'm pretty happy with the direction that it's going now. But I couldn't have done that on my own, even though I've been doing video recording for years and years.
Sure. Yeah.
But
because it would take all day. It would take all day to do it, right? You've got other things to do. It just takes
right. So I'm curious, when you're looking at this, what kind of video content are you doing that is going to work well when you're actually sending this? Are you sending them to when I'm talking sending this to them, I'm saying to the meeting coordinators who are booking speakers. So are you just sending them to the whole channel? Are you sending them to one reel? How are you utilizing this, and how are you setting up the recording so that it actually is kosher content that they're well, that's just, so it's not just look okay, well, that's just like a podcast interview. It's not necessarily what we're looking for. We're looking for stage content. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with that? I know I just asked you about 5 questions, so good luck.
No problem. I mean, scripting and research is the basis of everything, right? Ideation and scripting, the whole idea that you wing it, you have to take that out of your mind. No longer do we wing anything, because that's not what professionals do. We rehearse, we practice, we get set up, and then we do what we need to do. So the whole idea, though, is to have people binge content. If I watch a Mandi video, I want to watch more videos of you because you've got more answers to my problems. Now, let's invent a fake speaker right now. What does she speak on? Give me an idea. What is this? What does our fake speaker speak on?
Let's say that they speak on growth.
Growth. Personal growth.
Yeah, personal growth.
Personal growth. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Overcoming hurdles, personal growth, things like that. Sure. Whoever's watching that content is probably struggling in some way. Let's just say maybe they you kind of want to target a little bit higher up in the food chain anyways. You're not solving personal growth problems again for McDonald's workers. You're trying to go after executives, or right. Try and aim a bit higher. So if you start to solve those problems, you're going to encounter people whose problems are solved by you and they want to consume more content. They will then be in a position to be able to say, this person helped me. Maybe I'll look good if I can bring them into my company. Or maybe I'll look good if I can put them in front of my audience. Or, hey, I know the person who organizes such and such event. This person would be perfect for that event because of this reason. And that's kind of what you want to get to. You want to get to that level of familiarity, right? If you had the opportunity to bring Alex Hormozi into one of your events, if he was, or Layla, let's use Layla Hormozi, would you take that opportunity? If they were so available to speak in an event? Yeah, Layla. Yeah. Different audience for Alex. But if Layla became available to you and you consumed her content over and over and you said, wow, I know she's going to be in town for this event. Let me go and see how much it would cost to bring her into one of my events. You would take that opportunity because you've consumed her content and you've gotten really familiar with her. So that's kind of the pattern you want to keep repeating over and over and over again. Binge the content, gets people so addicted to who you are. That's a conversation with personal branding. We don't need to get there because A lot of people talk about personal branding. Then bring them down that funnel. Down that funnel, you have to add one checkbox to your form. Are you somebody who books speakers? Right? If you put that checkbox in there,
what form?
However you're getting somebody to download a lead magnet or join a newsletter, add the that checkbox to your form, because then all of a sudden now you've got your audience. Now you've got your segment, your email segment that you can just email anytime. Hey, I'm Mandi. I'm going to go and speak about growth. No, that wasn't about you.
I know. It was a terrible example. Thanks for helping me out on that.
Yeah, then you can just like target that segment of your email list and say, hey, I'm opening up a few slots in October of next year to come speak. And by the way, 6 to 10 months is the average booking time that a lot of event planners start to think about their events. So if you're trying to get into an event like a month, there's a couple techniques if you want to get into an event a month before, and we can talk about that. But like a decision-making time is like 6 to 10 months. It's to some people, that's a very long decision, and it takes a while to get in. You don't hear anything back because they're planning their freaking event, and they're not thinking about, oh, I got to call this speaker back because they're wanting me to hear back. So they want to hear back from me. I kind of threw a lot back at you there. Hope I answered some of your questions.
I'm processing all the gold that you just shared here. I love it. So that because you're saying add to your lead magnet, like, are you someone who books speakers? Mm-hmm. And that also, I think that also probably positions you quite nicely just within your audience, because they see you as a thought leader, that you're doing that. Then you're also looking at the 6 to 10 months. I think that I would love to hear your strategy for booking out a month in advance, but I would, just so I can confirm what your understanding is, you're building up an authority channel over on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And that is what you're using as the engine to be able to drive opportunities, if I'm hearing you right.
Correct. That's right.
So it's not...
And then once you have that stage recording, like I said, you want to start putting that up, because I think the whole idea is association. Something that we do in every single video that we produce during the intro that everyone should be having on their YouTube channel now. Like as soon as you start a video, introduce yourself very quickly. Put photos of yourself speaking on stage, because then what does that start to do? It starts to associate people in their minds with, oh, I guess this person is a speaker, right? Like something as simple as that. It's just a little bit of B-roll overlaid on top of, hey, I'm Cam. I help speakers get on stage. Boom, boom, boom. There's a couple of scenes of me interviewing speakers in studio. Well, what does that brand association mean in people's minds? They're like, oh, I guess Cam works in studio with speakers, right? Like that's what I have on mine, because that's what I want the association to be.
That's a great idea. I really like that. That's like, you just see these little tiny little tweaks
that
make
little
huge
things
different. So yeah, that's there, because the thing is, it's not just about doing a YouTube channel, because anybody could do a YouTube channel,
yep.
But it's about the little tiny things, the nuances that make the difference between whether the strategy works or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, caller. These are really great tips right here. So then, how would you go and, you're looking at these events that are booking out 6 to 10 months, mm-hmm. and also the month out. So there's two different strategies for it. I'd like to hear both. Okay,
so let's do the short form, because everyone wants speed right now. Best thing you can do if there's an event that's happening within the next month. So every major city has big conference centers. Toronto, we've got like 4 of them. There's huge conference centers. The Toronto Airport Conference Center, they are booked out every single week for 2 years. It's wild. But you know what you can do? You can go to their website and you can look at all the list of conferences or events that are happening there. And yeah, you're going to have to fight through some big weddings and stuff like that, but don't worry about that. Go look at the events that are there. You can contact the organizer and say, hey, I know your event's happening this weekend. Do you have any cancellations? Okay, great way to get in front of people. If you just want your feet wet, if you want to just get started with this, then be open to anything. Now, no guarantees. If you've got like a general topic, don't go talking about underwater basket weaving at like a tech conference. They just don't care. But if you have something of value, maybe you've got growth or marketing, or for me like video, I've called up conferences before and just said, hey, got any cancellations? I'm here in Toronto. I'm available. Do you have any slots open? They're like, actually, yeah, we've got a cancellation here. Can you show up here at 10 o'clock on the Saturday? I just had a breakout room. And it's something like very small and simple. You're not going to get the main stage keynote. No. You're not going to get the main stage keynote, but you will have an opportunity to get in front of people and like start building that audience. So there's the short one. Any questions
No,
around
I
that?
love that.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I think
Well,
that sounds like a great strategy. Yeah.
Just like getting in front of people is the whole goal, and so people can start to see you as the person who gets in front of people. Because everyone says they can be a speaker, but not everyone really can be a speaker. There's a little bit of entertainment that you got to be able to stagecraft that you need to know how to do. But then the long form one. So CES, right? The major conference for consumer electronics show. They book speakers 2 years in advance. So I want to paint a very clear picture here. If you think that you're going to go speak at Influence, or if you're going to go speak at CES, or you're going to go speak at like South by Southwest, like these like really big major if you want to go speak at TED, not TEDx, like a TED conference, like they're starting to talk to speakers somewhere between 16 to 20 months ahead. So it's like, it's far. So you got to understand, like those $25,000 slots are pretty expensive. So
the $25,000 slots are expensive.
Speaker slots, are hard to get into. Hard to get into.
So that you're getting paid that. I want to just be clear
Correct.
on it. Yes. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. But if you are just somebody who wants to go speak at an event and you've applied through, let's say you've gone through the front door, you filled a speaker application, call for speakers, event like that. So a couple tips, if it's a call for abstract or call for research papers, those are usually not worth it for business people because you get a lot of scholars there. Those are just not audiences that are of tremendous value unless you're selling into audiences like that, of course. But if you're going through the front door, following up is going to be your key, and you're up against all the other masses. So going in other ways, cold emailing people, showing up to other conferences that are hosted by the same organizer, connecting with them on LinkedIn and showing more value there. Like there's other ways to get on stages, which is befriending event planners and then following up with them. But don't be surprised if you don't get into an event for like 2 years, especially if it's a larger event or something that's where there's high competition. It's just lots of people are vying for these slots. That's just a reality of all events these days. Another way to get in is to buy a booth. And I've done that very successfully. And what's nice about that is that allows you to send people back to a central location where you can be found at any moment. Like spending 2 days at a booth, some people don't love it. I love it. Like, hey, it gives me an opportunity again to create more content. In fact, recently I set up a camera at my booth and I was just recording people asking me questions for 2 days. I got content for years now. Like I got so much content. It's great. It's awesome. But it allows me to go and give a talk in a breakout room, draw people in like that, and then people will come to my booth afterwards as well. And it depends on your budget though, but usually, $2,000-$3,000 will get you a workshop or a breakout room slot in a conference as well. Okay. So there's a couple of ways to get some speaking opportunities from bigger events.
So then what you're saying is that there are some events that will, just because you have a booth, they'll give you a slot. Yeah,
okay. Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the thing is having a whole booth there for a very aligned conference. It makes a lot of sense.
Right. But that's what a lot of people don't like booths. I don't mind booths at all. It's something I've had to learn to love over time. So the first time I did it, I was really nervous. But now, once you've done it a couple of times, you know what you need to do. Don't buy don't rent the TV from the hotel. Go buy a TV at Walmart, $400. Then you can use that or throw it away afterwards or whatever you need to do. Hopefully, don't throw it away. Actually, if you get it from Costco, you can return it, but don't tell anyone I said that.
Oh gosh, probably could do that at Walmart too.
Yeah, well, Walmart there's a couple of restrictions, but I was at a conference. They didn't.
Sounds like you know about this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of the events I spoke at, I had a booth at. They only allowed me to rent a television. It was $800 per day, and I'm like, I could have bought 4 TVs for that price. Ridiculous,
Crazy.
But they had some contracts with some event people, so whatever. That's how it is.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, for me, it's just like the sound of the logistics. It sounds like, the logistics is really what. But actually, I live close to Las Vegas. I live a couple hours from Las Vegas. I'm in southern Utah, in St. George. And the closest metropolitan is actually Las Vegas, and there's tons of conferences there.
Millions.
And that's easy enough. I just bring my sister here in town. It's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah. If you've got so many, you've got access to so many event halls and conference centers and things like that you could probably just start to look down the list and say, oh, let's contact this event organizer. You'll see who the organizer is and just hey, do you have any last minute cancellations? Do you have any speakers who can't make it? Do you have any open workshops? And you just present yourself. I'm here. I'm ready to go. This is my signature talk, ready to go. Would this be of value to your audience? Let's talk. And that's really good.
Yeah. These are some really great tips and strategies. And I would love to hear, it's like what we're talking about is like a whole other channel, and it takes a lot of time for preparation. In some of these cases, it takes a couple of years to even get on the stages. A lot of relationship developing, and you're looking at all this, and it's a whole other sales channel, and it's an enormous amount of work. Is what you're describing here. Why should people do this? Who have you have a successful company, you may be a multiple $1 million company, maybe even larger than that. Why should they spend the time to be able to develop themselves in this way?
Has there ever been somebody of influence who did not know how to master the spoken word? And I think that in and of itself, being able to stand in front of an audience or a crowd and move people is a skill that only pays dividends long term. There's no negative to understanding how to speak to a large group of people and get them to do stuff. So I think the intrinsic value of that, whether you are leading a large organization. Now I know a lot of founders, a lot of startup entrepreneurs, their goal isn't to create a massive company with lots of employees. Everyone has different goals, but the ability to move people one to many is a skill that has, since the dawn of time, been of value and respected. So that in and of itself, just for that reason, I would say it's worth it to learn how to speak in front of a large audience, even if you put aside all the lead gen and the tactics and all that kind of stuff. But I want to just say one more thing. Event planners don't hire speakers. They hire experts. So if somebody is not at the phase of their business yet or their confidence yet where they are an expert or they have an expertise, then that may be the reason why you're not getting on the stages that you want to get on. Because you're not being observed yet as a leader, a thought leader, an expert in your field yet. Because of course that can be developed over time.
That's a hard truth right there. And it's one of the things that we've seen too with people who want to come in and they want to be charging more. They want to be able to be at this next level where their company is more profitable and where they're getting bigger budget clients and where they're really doing the kind of work that they want, where they're leading the strategy and not just being told what to do. And if here's the thing is, if you're getting the orders from your clients and you're not the one actually driving the strategy, then you're not seen as the expert. Mm-hmm. You're seen as the implementer. So it's looking at how do you be able to go and generate more of those case studies for results that you do. That's what makes you an expert. How you tell, and that's one of the things that me and my team, we look at when in evaluating, is this going to be a good client for us to work with, is do they have case studies? Looking at their website, do you actually have ROI driven case studies that show a body of work that you actually can be proud of? Or is it all just about we do this?
Right.
Because that's what a lot of people think being an expert is. But I would say being an expert is actually being able to make things happen that wouldn't have been able to happen without you in a specific area, and being able to show some proof around it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's huge, because speaking in and of itself, it's hard to determine an ROI from one speech. So that's if you're not able to take what you're speaking about and apply it to the real world, then what are you then? That's not the definition of an expert. So an expert comes in with a body of expertise, knowledge and having proof that they've done it before. And those are great speeches to give. A really great speech says, this is what we did at this company and this was the result of it. And this is the lessons that we've learned. Being able to get in front of somebody or get in front of a group of people and expose yourself like that, really, because there's people in the audience being like, who is this person? I'm going to go and check them up right now, right? They're looking to see if you're the real deal there. So, but if you can do that, then all of a sudden your authority just goes like way up. There's intrinsic authority to people who speak up on stage. We give them authority by giving them our attention and shutting up while we're listening to them speak. Yeah. So there's like this whole power play, I think, that you could probably think of there as well. So being able to speak about your proof and your experience that you've done this before and the lessons that you've learned up in front of a group of people is like the ultimate challenge. It's the ultimate goal. Yeah.
I would agree with you with that. And there's this one structure that we teach our clients with this executive briefing. And I mentioned about how we do that weekly. And it's so powerful because you're connecting on a pain point that your ideal prospects have. And then with this pain point, then you're actually going and talking through, well, here's how we solved it for this type of company, for this company, right? And then you're talking about your process. Yes, everybody wants to talk about the process, but here's the thing: is that nobody really cares about your process until you got the hook of like, this is what it actually did, right? Mm-hmm. So if you can actually talk through a case study, that way you can tell your whole process through a case study. And that's what we do at our executive briefing. If anyone wants to actually just like spy, look over the shoulder and see how we do that, like, you can come. But and what I do is I actually use lots of case studies and stories all the way through it. And every time, like, this is actually, one of my friends and colleagues, he's given me a lot of feedback on my own speaking, and he's just like, more stories. And I'm like, every time I add more stories, it gets better and better. And
right.
like, I get, you watch people just totally enthralled, and it's just, but every single area, how can I add more story here? How can I add more story here?
Yes.
Which makes it more interesting. And it is not just about some dry process. I'm just adding that on to what I've seen over a long period of time testing this in my company and in our clients' companies. It's just this format that actually demonstrates the expertise through a body of work.
Right, exactly. And I think what a lot of people think when they hear a story is, I have to go talk about my family member with cancer. And while that has a place, right, I don't think for this audience that matters. So you don't shoehorn in a story unless there's some lesson attached to it as well. And I think that's probably something that a lot of people get wrong. I know when I was starting to speak, I spoke on disability inclusion and accessibility for IBM, out of all things. I was sent around the country to go speak about that, and I tried to shoehorn in a story about my grandmother during COVID, and like the comments I got afterwards were, it was almost like I abused the audience, like I abused their emotions just to, like, the comments I read afterwards, like, what is this? I gave a heartfelt story. They're like, yeah, but you don't give somebody an opportunity to say, well, we don't care about your grandmother. We just care about the lessons that you're going to teach our company. So how dare you bring up your grandmother just to use her in a story? So like, that's the point. Some of that, right?
Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah. Lessons you'll learn from getting up in front of an audience. Whereas compare that to something like, I worked with a speaker, and we do demo reels as well for our high level clients. So we actually make their videos that they will send out to event planners as their pitch video almost. We've helped speakers grow, like double their speaking fee as a result of that. And what I've realized through that is that sometimes you have an internal understanding of what you should look like on stage. But when you don't see that reflected in you with all of your content that you've created, you see grainy video from the back of the room from your friend eating their dinner. It's like, oh yeah, don't worry, I got your footage, like this kind of stuff. Or it's like back when you used to have hair and now you're bald and things like that. Like, it's like a fresh suit. When you go and buy a brand new outfit and then you put it on, don't you feel like $1 million? Well, like, you're like, this is so awesome. I feel great. Like, I know for us guys, like, you get a nice tailored suit. Doesn't matter if it's like a $500 one or a $5,000 one, you look great, you feel great, and you're going to go and present yourself in a different way as well. And what I've learned, which is why I stick so deeply with video, is that when somebody feels represented to the outside world the same way that they feel on the inside, then naturally their fees go up, they get more speaking opportunities just like that, because they're not like ashamed to like, oh, please don't go look at my YouTube, or no, you don't want to go look at my website. Like, how many people do you work with who are like, I'm rebranding my website? Like, people have been rebranding their website for years. I know you laugh because I bet you work with people like that too. So those are some of the wins that we see through time. It's like when your inside matches your outside, things really start to happen.
That's a really good point about the positioning, and I love that you said that they're able to double their fees just from a video. It makes a lot of sense. It's a really great return on investment for whatever it is that you're doing. So Cam, how can people connect with you?
If you want to actually chat with me, email's the best, but you find me on LinkedIn, cam@thefrequentspeaker.com, or look for me, Cam Beaudoin, on LinkedIn. I'm running a challenge though. I run it once a month. And if anyone's just interested in getting on YouTube and kind of starting that journey, right now, just go to youtubespeakerchallenge.com. All the details are there. It's totally free. And feel free to join that challenge. And it's 5 days. It'll help you set everything up, from soup to nuts, just kind of build that whole process and funnel and make sure your channel's optimized and all that kind of good stuff. And share some of those tactics. So youtubespeakerchallenge.com.
Okay, youtubespeakerchallenge.com. Okay, we'll make sure to have that put in the down below in the comments. So Cam, we talked for a long time, more than I expected. I've just really enjoyed the conversation I think we've had a good dialogue here, and you've shared such great, you've shared gold. I really appreciate it. So,
all right.
Thanks so much for coming on. And for those of you listening out there, if you would like to learn how to position your business so you can charge top dollar, you can attract clients that pay a lot higher budgets than probably what they're paying right now, and ultimately have a company that it can run without you and grow without you, go to handsoffceo.com/briefing and join our next executive briefing, where I walk through exactly how to do it and share tons of case studies of what is working right now. Thanks again, Cam, for being on the show, and thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Hands Off CEO with Mandi Ellefson. If you want to work less and make more, make sure you subscribe and get a new episode every week, and help spread the word by leaving a review.